But yeah, let's talk. How do you want to enter this NFTs? Okay, so well, I NFTs came out of nowhere for me. I think a month ago I hadn't heard the term. I started seeing it a little bit. I saw somebody make a joke. I forget what his name is, but he posted the Elon taking a toke, and then said like that feeling when I find out the token is non fungible. I thought that was very funny. But uh, and then I will admit to I was a big basketball card fan
Mm.
growing up. So I hear Stefan and JF on the Go Off Kings talking about NBA Top Shot, and I
Mm.
got a little bit interested. I want to say I not interested enough to like actually invest any serious money into it, but um, and then actually when I found out how crypto it was, then
Mm.
I got turned off of it. But should we talk about NFTs first and some of the ridiculousness in terms of will these bring back the aura of authenticity
I
that
forgot about this.
Walter Benjamin
Yeah, I
said?
mean,
Yeah.
they're definitely going to be great for, critical theory. I'm sure like people are already um pumping those essays up right now. I don't know, man. Like we want to talk about this just because I think it's very funny. I don't have too many big takes on it. Like the real take, like if you actually want to have one, which I really don't think you need to. Um, this is just an example of what happens when you have some people who have access to just such wealth and they need to find ways to put their money somewhere that they know is just going to appreciate in value, and then find another sucker to sell it to later. And
Hmm.
it's the same thing with Bitcoin and all of these other cryptocurrencies, right? It's just
Yeah.
like it's a great way to like just continue to pump up. Like all these people are like waiting for this moment when they're continuing to rise in value. Don't get me wrong, but like it's a whole scam of like just continue, trying to convince people like this is the greatest investment. This is never going to end until that time when nobody wants to
Yes.
buy the garbage anymore, right? That's what this whole system is about, is creating new markets for suckers. And this is a great one, and honestly some people have pulled in some significant cash for themselves and a lot of hype, uh, and I think
Yeah.
it's very funny to watch.
Well, it's exactly so. Just so people don't know, this is basically like so Bitcoin, the whole cryptocurrency thing didn't really pan out because it's clearly not useful as an actual currency. You can use it to buy things off of sort of illicit goods off of the dark web, but
Mhm.
as actual currency, it's not very useful. It's clearly a speculative asset. So let's move on to being a little bit more honest about this being a speculative asset, like basketball cards, for instance, which is the
Mhm.
famous one. And but this isn't the only one. It can also point to different artwork, for instance, like
Mhm.
digital artwork, and so it's basically using the security cryptography or whatever. I don't know the
Mhm.
terminology here,
A
but
blockchain.
a blockchain to point to a image file. Now there's a problem with that. But before we get to that, I want to point out David Gerard, who I think wrote a book on Bitcoin, if
Hmm.
which I haven't read. Libra shrugged: How Facebook tried to take over money. Yeah, I feel like I've had him on or listened to him. I can't tell if I've produced a show with him on or just listened to one with
Mhm.
him on. But anyway, he posted this, and I'll just read it for you, David. Um, Says NFT explained. It's a blockchain version of this old app, and this is the app that says "I am rich." "I am rich" is an iOS application developed by Armand Hemrick, which was distributed in the App Store. When launched, the screen only contains a glowing red gem and an icon that, when pressed, displayed the following mantra in large text: "I am rich. I deserve it. I am good, healthy, and successful."
Oh
Um,
yeah, man.
so there's that.
It's like
Um,
a Silicon Valley sketch, man.
Yeah, and it was for sale on the App Store for $999.99. So that's cool. So this is a more interesting thread to me from the element of. So out of curiosity, this is at Jonty at Jonty. And he says, out of curiosity, I dug into how NFTs actually reference the media you're buying, and my eyebrows are now orbiting the moon. Uh, Short version: the NFT token you bought either points to a URL on the internet or IPFS hash. In most circumstances, it references an IPFS gateway on the internet run by a startup you bought the NFT from. Oh, and that URL is not media. That URL is JSON file. So this is sort of like, I don't know if you remember early like MySpace, I feel like, or maybe it is, for me it was like web forums where you
Mm,
needed a image hosting service.
hmm.
Like Frog, there's like a Frog based one. I can't remember all these different services. It's hard to find free ones,
Yeah,
but
for like
all
your
the
MySpace page, right?
exactly. And so you needed to post your thing there and save the link.
Jesus
That's
Christ. Yeah, that's
basically
taking me
what's
back.
going on here with these, except just using the blockchain.
Except for millions of dollars.
So yeah, and what this guy points to is said, in short, and in short, right now NFTs are built on an absolute house of cards constructed by the people selling them. It is likely that every NFT sold so far will be broken within a decade, because he goes into it, and these follow to, this is this is internet infrastructure. So I saw in one of the, I was just scrolling through the people talking about Walter Benjamin, which I admittedly need to refresh myself on, but someone saying you can literally buy authenticity straight from the artist. You are not buying that. You are
Mhm.
buying a little asset that points to that links to it's somewhere on a server somewhere that you can access mediated through like your screens.
Mhm.
This, and only you can do that theoretically. We've seen these things can be stolen and hacked. I don't know what hacking, how Benjamin accounts for things being able to be hacked and stolen like that, of what that means for the aura. But yeah, like again, like this guy was saying, let's say I own the infrastructure that is hosting this artwork, right?
Mhm.
You basically, if someone pays $50 million for a piece of artwork and it's ultimately pointing to your server, they basically need to keep you in business. Like
Yeah.
you have a meal ticket forever on whatever dumbass ended up buying that
Well,
thing.
and I have to add too that the reason everyone's talking about these now is because there's been some high profile sales, and the big one was I also don't think an accident $69 million sale of
That's how you assess value. Yeah.
yeah, very like moron tech bro Elon Musk, just complete soup for brains stuff.
Raise
Um,
taxes. My God.
but $69 million for a piece of digital art for the NFT of that. And guess what? The person who bought that is somebody who is behind another one of these NFT programs, another one of these blockchain programs. So it's literally, at least at that level, they are buying it from themselves to get other people to get excited about it and then to want to, go through them in the future.
Wow, what a surprise. I kind of also wanted to move on to this story that Vice did here, and I'll put it up
Yes,
for
yes,
you.
please.
I'll put it in the chat for you, Dave, if you haven't seen this yet. But I'll put it up for, because it's interesting. It's somebody in Texas.
Also, wait, just before we go too
Yeah,
far, it's like, look, all these
absolutely.
technologies are interesting, and they have like potentials that are different from this. What the reason this is funny and all is just such a sad indictment of our time was this just like rich people are trying to find ways not to launder their money, but to basically, to hide it and then to pump it and then to sell to some kind of sucker. And it is just a great example of the kind of dystopia that we live in, where people were doing that, not just with stuff like this, but with like Magic the Gathering cards or like Pokemon cards, right? All that kind of stuff is the same thing. It's like there's a bunch of people who have way too much money to know what to do with it. And it's about time that the rest of us take it back
Honestly,
from them at
like
this
we
point.
are 2 years away from them doing like crypto sports betting. like um but this in other crypto Bitcoin blockchain related news, this story I think very well reported by Motherboard here. I don't know why it's giving me so much of that header, but I guess I'll share it with you anyway. um Here's what's happening in that viral oil well Bitcoin mining video. So I also tweeted this video out um this one here, Bitcoin initiated, and I'll just play it. So fracking well, going right to this, basically trailer of all those are GPUs.
Yeah.
So you have all the cooling and my comment on this was that isn't it miraculous to see currency get democratized right in front of your eyes? Because I mean that's the ridiculous. So I think some people had the wrong reaction, which is like which is putting a couple things that are true together, which is that one, all these crypto, the blockchain related, maybe there's someone to improve it, but as far as I know, rely on extremely like sophisticated calculations that require a lot of computing power / energy. Okay, so you see these things tied to natural gas. It looks like they're pumping that gas straight into Bitcoin. Those oil wells are already there. And what that rig is doing isn't necessarily salutary, but just to explain what is actually happening which is that an externality that is destroying the planet is instead being profitized. Right. So natural gas creates all these other heavier hydrocarbons that it can't really deal with. Because dealing with it would be expensive and it's dangerous. So it can't really deal with it because it needs the state to basically build pipelines all over hell. Or, you'd need to have some kind of storage facility. So it can't do anything. Often what it does is just vent it, which is just literally let that shit go straight out. And Texas A&M students recently found that they're lying about, in the Permian Basin, just straight up lying about how much is being vented. And then what people are maybe more familiar with because it's visible is the flaring, which is they literally like they turn it into CO2 basically, which is slightly better for the environment, but still obviously that's one of the main.
And it stays in the atmosphere for an extremely long time and like amplifies the greenhouse effect. It's a huge scandal and a problem, which we should definitely do something on that in the future, not to derail you, but it's insane.
And so this part of this is important to why like we have this myth that natural gas, the whole like being cleaner than coal thing, which is
natural,
right? And it's like, well, all of that may be so in terms of a type of like formula, but when you think about how much all these canisters that are supposed to store like this stuff just leak just straight into the atmosphere, the pipelines themselves, the reason natural gas is gained traction is because of sort of the just-in-time issues that we've talked about with regard to energy that is more preferable from a market standpoint. And so, like this, but this story does a good job of basically explaining that. I just think it's very interesting that like, look, let's say you got some sort of word from like Karl Marx, who's been doing the numbers in heaven and side by side with God himself. So they know everything. And they're like, you know what? We just can't do without natural gas now. I would just say it'd be nice to like force the externality to be put to a slightly better use than a fucking speculation, like digital speculative
this is
asset.
another great example of how capitalism is great at allocating resources for the social good. No, I mean, this is like honestly one of the most perfect examples of just how wasteful the system is.
Like of all, yeah. I mean, anyways, I've heard the even darker implications of this, which to point to a dystopian future where your currency is controlled by fucking fracking wildcatters that will give you some currency to play it, I don't know, buy some highlights with. So anyways, that's probably not gonna make a lot of the crypto bros happy. I'm glad, David, you did get in with that. These technologies can be cool thing, because
I mean, I don't know, like I'm like, yeah. But this is all the cryptocurrencies are a nightmare. Right. I mean, just so no one misunderstands me, the cryptocurrency is a nightmare, not just because of the technology, which again, like technology is, just technology. Private currency has been a dream of the right wing for for a very long time. And why is that? One, because they don't want their money to be tracked or traced. Why? One, because they want to participate in illegal activities, which again, let's think about, this is like good, like theories of democracy. What is like an illegal activity? Something that, the public has said that they don't want to happen, right? In the, in the ideal sense of that system, obviously there's a lot of things that are illegal in our country that we would like to be legal, but they want to basically be able to have their money be held in something that is outside of public control. And that's not something that is very liberatory for us. And I think that, just because we're against like, the present state of things doesn't mean that we want to go to a period of time of like mass privatization of things that are, for some extent, like in the public domain, right? Which is like that the government controls the monetary system,
Yeah.
right? Which gives us the potential, not the current reality, but the potential to control that system in the future, which is why people on the right and wealthy people are trying as hard as they can to find ways to avoid that. They do that through precious metals, and they want to create a new option to do that with crypto.
Yeah, it's cease studying for your bank account, basically.